pass out as I leapt into this pond, and I dreamt for a second about Esther's car crash, apparently. That was a little bit odd. Well, let us leave this pond of dreams, continue on our journey. There's light. More candles. Oh my god, the moon. Oh my god, look at that moon. That is a beautiful moon. Framed perfectly in the arch of the cave.
I sat here and watched two jets carve parallel white lines into the sky. They charted their course, and I followed them for 21 minutes until they turned off near Sanford and were lost. If I were a gull, I would abandon my nest and join them. I would starve my brain of oxygen and suffer delusions of transcendence. I would tear the bottom from my boat and sail across the motorways until I reached this island once again.
More paint. Luminous paint. Is this island I'm on simply a state of mind? Is this all in my imagination? Where is the blinking red light that I was following at the pictures? Pictures of the crashed car.
Of fire and soil, I chose fire. It seemed the more contemporary of the options, the more sanitary. I could not bear the thought of the reassembly of such a ruin. Stitching arm to shoulder and femur to hip, charting a line of thread like traffic stilled on a motorway, making it all acceptable for tearful aunts and traumatized uncles flown in specially for the occasion. Reduce to ash, mix with water, make a phosphorescent paint for these rocks and ceiling.
What? Apparently he cremated her, mixed her ashes in with glowing paint, brought her back to this island and painted her onto the walls of the cave. The entire island has become a shrine to her. Parts of her ashes mixed in, the glowing paint on the walls. An actual picture of a person. Perhaps that is Esther. A little shrine in her memory in the cave by the seaside. Oh my god. We have pieces of the car. Pieces of the crashed car. He brought them to this island. A shrine to the crashed car as well.
Hall by the roadside, by the exit for Damascus, all ticking and cooled, all feathers and remorse, all of these signals routed like traffic through the circuit diagrams of our guts, those badly written boats torn bottomless in the swells, washing us forever ashore.
What is this? A light from heaven. Shone around him.
From here, I can see my armada. I collected all the letters I'd ever meant to send to you, if I'd have ever made it to the mainland, but had instead collected at the bottom of my rucksack, and I spread them out along the lost beach. Then I took each and every one, and I folded them into boats. I folded you into the creases, and then, as the sun was setting, I set the fleet to sail. Shattered into 21 pieces, I consigned you to the Atlantic, and I sat here until I'd watched all of you sink.
Was he on this island when she died? Is that what's going on? On a sudden, a light from heaven shone around him, and he fell to the ground. It's a nest of eggs. Oh my goodness. There is the blinking red light. How did I not notice? I was so near to it.
The pain in my leg sent me blind for a few minutes as I struggled up the cliff path. I swallowed another handful of painkillers, and now I feel almost lucid. The island around me has retreated to a hazed distance, whilst the moon appears to have descended into my palm to guide me. I can see a thick black line of infection reaching for my heart from the waistband of my trousers. Through the fugue, it's all the world like the path I have cut from the lowlands towards the aerial.
So he went all through that cave with a broken leg. It was quite the ordeal, I'm sure. More painted words on the walls up here.
I've begun my voyage in a paper boat without a bottom. I will fly to the moon in it. I've been folded along a crease in time, a weakness in the sheet of life. Now you've settled on the opposite side of the paper to me. I can see your traces in the ink that soaks through the fibre, the pulped vegetation. When we become waterlogged and the cage disintegrates, we will intermingle. When this paper aeroplane leaves the cliff edge and carves parallel vapor trails in the dark, we will come together.
He was proceeding on his journey. And was come near I cannot read that. Too famous? Don't know what that says.
If only Donnelly had experienced this, he would have realized he was his own shoreline, as am I. Just as I am becoming this island, so he became his syphilis, retreating into the burning synapses, the stones, the infection.
He was 3 days without sight. And neither did he eat nor drink. I continue on towards the blinking red light. Will this be the culmination of the journey? The light I saw from the start of the journey. Somehow I knew it was my destination.
Reflected in these retinas. Too long in the tunnels of my island without a bottom. The sea creatures have risen to the surface, but the gulls are not here to carry them back to their nests. I've become fixed, open and staring, an eye turned on itself. I've become an infected leg whose tracking lines form a perfect map of the junctions of the M5. I will take the exit at mid-thigh and plummet to my Esther.
This guy has lost his mind. Just lost his mind. From grief to infection in his broken leg. Came to pass. But as I made my journey, it's just almost unreadable.
I have dredged these waters for the bones of the hermit, for the traces of Donnelly, for any sign of Jakobsen's flock, for the empty bottle that would incriminate him. I have scoured this stretch of motorway 21 times, attempting to recreate his trajectory, the point when his heart stopped dead and all he saw was the moon over the Sanford Junction. He was not drunk, Esther. He was not drunk at all, and it was not his fault. It was the converging lines that doomed him. This is not a recorded natural condition. The gulls do not fly so low over the motorway and cause him to swerve. The paint scored away from his car in lines like an infection, making directly for the heart.
Damascus. What is that sound? It's mildly disconcerting.
I am the Ariel. In my passing, I will send news to each and every star. Dear Esther, I have burnt my belongings, my books, this death certificate. Mine will be written all across this island. Who was Jakobsen? Who remembers him? Donnelly has written of him, but who was Donnelly? Who remembers him? I have painted, carved, hewn, scored into this space all that I could draw from him. There will be another to these shores to remember me. I will rise from the ocean like an island without bottom, come together like a stone, become an Ariel, a beacon, that they will not forget you. We've always been drawn here. One day the gulls will return and nest in our bones and our history. I will look to my left and see Esther Donnelly flying beside me. I will look to my right and see Paul Jakobsen flying beside me. They will leave white lines carved into the air to reach the mainland, where help will be sent.
And down I go, my goodness. Well, I'm really unsure what to think about that whole trip. That was quite an experience.